Hello and welcome to Decode Your English. I'm so thrilled that you're joining me today. Thank you for taking the time to be here for this episode. On this episode, we dive into simple, practical ideas to help you grow, become stronger, and improve your English skills all at once. So, take a deep breath, get comfortable, and let's get ready to learn something that can truly change your life today. We're tackling a topic that hits close to home for so many of us. Why do we keep making the same mistakes over and over? And how can we stop? Have you ever caught yourself thinking, why did I do that again? Or maybe you've said, I thought I learned my lesson, but here I am, repeating the same mistake. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. I've been there. And so have countless others, whether it's in school, at work, in relationships, or even while learning English. It's frustrating, isn't it? You want to change, but somehow you fall back into the same patterns. This topic matters because understanding why we repeat mistakes, the first step to breaking free and making better choices. Repeating mistakes can make us feel stuck, like we're running in circles. But when we learn from them, we grow stronger, more confident, and more in control of our lives. In this episode, we're going to explore what mistakes really are, why we keep repeating them, and most importantly, how to stop. I'll share simple, actionable steps you can use in your daily life, plus some specific tips for English learners to break habits that slow down your progress. I'll keep the language clear and easy to follow, using short sentences so you can understand every word. And since this is an episode for English learners, you'll also get a chance to practice your listening and speaking skills while learning something valuable for life. As we go, try repeating key phrases or sentences out loud with me. Speaking aloud is a fantastic way to boost your English fluency. If you'd like, you can pause the episode to practice a sentence again. Don't worry about being perfect. This is your space to learn, grow, and improve step by step. So, are you ready to stop repeating the same mistakes and make a positive change in your life and your English journey? Let's dive in together. You're already doing something amazing just by being here. Now, let's move into the first part, where we'll explore what a mistake actually is and why it's okay to make them. Let's get started. What is a mistake? Before we can stop repeating mistakes, we need to understand what they are. A mistake is simply something you do that doesn't turn out the way you wanted. It's an action, a choice, or a moment that goes wrong, usually without you meaning for it to happen. Mistakes can be small, like forgetting your keys at home, or bigger, like saying something that hurts someone's feelings. But here's the key. Mistakes are a normal part of life. Everyone makes them. Let's look at a few examples. Imagine you're learning English, and you say, she go to the park, instead of she goes to the park. That's a grammar mistake. It's not a big deal, it's just part of learning. Or maybe you promised to call a friend, but forget. That's a mistake too. You didn't mean to let them down. It just happened. Or perhaps you oversleep and miss an important meeting. Again, a mistake. Here's something I want you to really hear. Mistakes are not bad. They don't mean you're weak, lazy, or not good enough. In fact, mistakes are how we learn. Think about a baby learning to walk. They fall over and over again, right? But each fall teaches them how to balance. The same is true for you, whether you're learning English, building relationships, or chasing your goals. Mistakes are little teachers. They show you what doesn't work so you can figure out what does. Every successful person you admire, your favorite teacher, a famous athlete, or even a celebrity, has made countless mistakes. They didn't become great by being perfect. They became great by learning from their errors and trying again. Let's say that together. Mistakes help me learn. Try it again. Mistakes help me learn. Great job. It's also important to know that you're not alone in making mistakes. Everyone does it. Your parents, your boss, even the most confident people you know, they've all messed up. Sometimes we feel like we're the only one struggling. But that's not true. Mistakes are universal. What matters is what you do after you make one. Do you give up? Do you feel ashamed? Or do you say, okay, I can learn from this and try? Again, that choice is what shapes your growth. Let's try another example. Imagine you're practicing English, and you keep forgetting to use the word did in past tense sentences. You say, yesterday. I go to the store instead of yesterday. I did go to the store. When someone corrects you, you might feel embarrassed. But that moment is a gift. It's a chance to learn. The next time, you might remember to say did. That's progress. Every mistake is a step toward getting better. Sometimes, though, we get stuck repeating the same mistakes. Maybe you keep forgetting to study English, even though you promised yourself you'd practice every day. Or maybe you're always late to appointments, even though you want to be on time. It's easy to feel frustrated and think, why do I keep doing this? But don't worry, that's normal too. The good news is, once we understand why we repeat mistakes, we can start to change. So, to sum up, a mistake is something you do wrong. Usually by accident. Everyone makes them. And they're not something to fear. They're part of learning. Instead of feeling bad about mistakes, see them as tools for growth. In the next part, we'll dig into why we keep repeating the same mistakes, even when we want to stop. Stay with me, and let's keep exploring together. Why do we repeat mistakes? Now that we know what a mistake is, let's talk about why we sometimes make the same ones again and again. It's one thing to mess up once, but when you keep repeating the same error, it can feel like you're stuck in a loop. You might think, I know this is wrong, so why do I keep doing it? That's a great question. And there are a few reasons why this happens. Let's break them down. The first reason is that we don't always learn from our mistakes. Sometimes we make an error, feel bad for a moment, and then move on without thinking about it. We don't stop to ask, why did this happen? What can I do differently? Without reflection, we're likely to repeat the same mistake. For example, let's say you always wait until the last minute to study for a test. You feel stressed, don't do well, and promise yourself, next time, I'll start earlier. But when the next test comes, you procrastinate again. Why? Because you didn't take time to understand why you waited so long. Maybe you were distracted, or maybe you didn't plan your time well. If you don't reflect, the same pattern repeats. The second reason is acting without thinking. In our busy lives, we often make quick decisions without pausing to consider the consequences. Maybe you're tired, stressed, or distracted, and you just act on autopilot. For instance, imagine you keep agreeing to do things for others, even when you're already overwhelmed. Later, you feel stressed and think, why did I say yes again? It's because you didn't stop to think before answering. A quick pause, just a deep breath, can help you make better choices. The third reason is fear of change. Even when we know something isn't working, we stick to it because it's familiar. Change feels risky or uncomfortable. For example, maybe you're learning English and want to speak more in class, but you stay quiet because you're afraid of making mistakes. After class, you regret it and think, I should have spoken up. But the next day, you stay silent again. Why? Because speaking feels scary and staying quiet feels safe. Change requires stepping out of your comfort zone. And that's not easy, but it's worth it. The fourth reason is a lack of self-awareness. Sometimes we don't even notice our mistakes because we're not paying attention to our habits. Maybe you interrupt people when they talk, but you don't realize you're doing it. Or maybe you keep using the wrong English word, like saying borrow when you mean lend. If you don't see the mistake, you can't fix it. Becoming more aware of your actions is key to breaking the cycle. Let's review these reasons. Together, we repeat mistakes because we don't learn from them. We act without thinking, we fear change, or we lack self-awareness. Can you think of a mistake you keep repeating? Maybe it's procrastinating on your English practice, staying up till late, or forgetting to listen to others. Try saying it out loud. One mistake I keep repeating is, now. Think about which of these reasons might apply. Are you not reflecting, acting too fast, afraid to change, or not noticing the habit? Don't worry if this feels hard, it's normal. The good news is, once you understand why you repeat a mistake, you're already halfway to stopping it. In the next section, we'll talk about how repeating mistakes affects your life and why it's so important to break the cycle. Keep listening, you're doing great. How repeating mistakes impacts your life. Let's talk about what happens when we keep making the same mistakes over and over. You might think it's just a small mistake, no big deal, and sometimes that's true. But when you repeat the same error again and again, it starts to affect how you feel, how you connect with others, and how you grow, especially when learning something like English. First, repeating mistakes can make you feel frustrated. You might start thinking, why can't I get this right? That frustration can turn into self-doubt, where you begin to believe you're not capable of changing. For example, if you keep forgetting English vocabulary, you might think, I'm just not good at languages. That's not true. But it feels true when you're stuck in a cycle. This doubt can chip away at your confidence, making you less likely to try new things or take risks. Second, repeated mistakes can affect your relationships. Imagine you keep showing up late to meet a friend. At first, they might understand, but if it happens repeatedly, they might feel disrespected or stop trusting you. Or maybe you interrupt people without realizing it, and over time, they feel like you don't listen. Small mistakes, when repeated, can damage trust and connection with others. Third, repeating mistakes slows down your growth, especially in learning. Let's say you want to improve your English speaking, but you keep avoiding opportunities to practice because you're shy. Every time you stay silent, you miss a chance to get better. Over time, you feel stuck, not because you can't improve, but because you're caught in the same habit. This can make you lose motivation and even give up on your goals. Here's a quick story to illustrate this. Meet Sarah, a student who wanted to speak English fluently. She joined a conversation class, but every time the teacher asked her a question, she stayed quiet, worried about making mistakes. After class, she'd feel disappointed and think, tomorrow I'll speak. But the next day, she'd stay silent again. Months passed, and Sarah wasn't improving, not because she wasn't smart, but because her fear of mistakes kept her stuck. One day, her teacher said, Sarah, by not speaking, you're making a bigger mistake than any grammar error. That hit her. The next class, Sarah answered a question. Even though her voice shook, her classmates smiled, and she felt a spark of confidence. That small step broke the cycle and helped her grow. This story shows how repeating a mistake like avoiding speaking can hold you back, but one small change can make a big difference. So, think about this. What's one mistake you keep repeating? Maybe it's avoiding English practice, rushing through tasks, or not listening carefully. How is it affecting your confidence, relationships, or progress? Say out loud, one mistake I repeat is, and it affects me by. The goal isn't to feel bad, it's to see clearly. When you understand how your mistakes impact your life, you're ready to change. In the next part, we'll share practical steps to stop repeating mistakes. You can break the cycle, and I'll show you how. Keep going, you're already taking big steps just by being here. How to stop repeating mistakes. Now, we're at the heart of this episode. How to stop repeating the same mistakes. It's not about being perfect overnight, it's about taking small, intentional steps to change. I'm going to share 5 simple steps you can use in your daily life, whether you're improving your English, managing time, or building better habits. I'll also ask you to repeat some sentences aloud to practice your English and reinforce the ideas. Ready? Let's go. Step 1. Notice the mistake. First step is to become aware of what you're doing wrong. If you don't see the mistake, you can change it. Take a moment to think. What's something you keep doing that causes problems? Maybe you forget to study English, or you always rush through conversations without listening. Say this with me. I noticed my mistake. Try it again. I notice my mistake. Great. Seeing the mistake is the first step to breaking the cycle. Step 2. Ask why it happened and just say, I messed up. Dig deeper. Why did the mistake happen? Were you distracted, nervous, unprepared, for example? If you keep forgetting to use the correct verb tense, maybe it's because you haven't practiced enough. Say this aloud. I ask why my mistake happened. One more time. I ask why my mistake happened. Understanding the reason helps you know what to fix. Step 3. Write it down. Writing makes things real. Grab a notebook and jot down your mistake and why it happened. It doesn't have to be long, just a sentence or two. For example, I forgot to study English today because I didn't set a reminder. Writing helps your brain process and remember. Repeat after me. I write down my mistake and why it happened. Again, I write down my mistake and why it happened. Good job. Step 4. Make a small plan and try to change everything at once. Pick one small action to do differently. If you keep forgetting to study, your plan could be, I'll set a phone alarm for 15 minutes of English practice every evening. If you avoid speaking, try, I'll say one sentence in English class tomorrow. Say this with me. I make a small plan to change. One more time. I make a small plan to change. Small steps lead to big results. Step 5. Practice slow. Like change takes time. You might not get it right the first day, and that's okay. Keep practicing your new habit. If you're working on speaking English, try one sentence today. To tomorrow, if you're managing time, start with a small to-do list. Repeat after me. I practice my new habit every day. Again, I practice my new habit every day. Consistency is key. Let's review the 5 steps. Notice the mistake. I notice my mistake. Ask why. I ask why my mistake happened. Write it down. I write down my mistake and why it happened. Make a small plan. I make a small plan to change. Practice slowly. I practice my new habit every day. These steps are simple but powerful. Let's try an example. Imagine you keep saying, I have 20 years instead of I am 20 years old. Use the steps. Notice, I use the wrong phrase. Ask why. I didn't practice the correct phrase. Write it down. Mistake. Said, I have 20 years. Reason. Didn't review. Make a plan. I'll practice saying I am 20 years old 5 times tonight. Practice slowly. Say the correct phrase daily until it feels natural. What's one mistake you want to stop? Say it aloud. I want to stop. Then follow the 5 steps. You're not failing, you're learning. In the next section, we'll look at common mistakes English learners make and how to fix them. Stay with me. Common mistakes English learners repeat. Let's zoom in on mistakes that many English learners repeat. These habits can slow your progress, but once you notice them, you can change them. I'll share 5 common mistakes and tips to overcome them, plus some sentences to practice speaking. Not speaking enough. Many learners focus on reading or listening, but avoid speaking. Speaking is a skill that needs practice, like playing a sport. If you don't speak, your confidence stays low. Try this. Repeat after me. I will speak English every day, even if it's just one sentence. Practice by describing your day aloud. I'm eating breakfast or I'm walking to school. Start small, and the fear will fade. Fearing grammar mistakes. Some learners stay silent because they want perfect grammar, but even native speakers make mistakes. Focus on communicating, not perfection. Say this with me. Mistakes are okay. They help me learn. If you make a grammar error, laugh it off and try again. People care about your message, not your grammar. Studying without using English. Studying grammar and vocabulary is great, but if you don't use English in real life, you'll forget it. It's like learning to cook, but never making food. Repeat this. I will use English in my daily life. Try writing a text in English, watching a show with English subtitles, or reading a short article. Use what you learn, not reviewing old lessons. Many learners rush to new material and forget the basics. Reviewing helps your brain lock in knowledge. Say this. I will review what I've learned. Spend 5 minutes a day revisiting old vocabulary or grammar rules. It makes everything stick. Comparing yourself to others, it's easy to feel bad if someone else speaks better or learns faster. But everyone's journey is different. Focus on your progress. Repeat after me. My progress is enough. I am doing my best. Celebrate your small wins, like learning a new word or speaking up once. Can you think of one mistake you're making in your English learning? Say it aloud. One mistake I make is, now. Pick one tip from above and try it this week. You're not behind, you're growing. Next, we'll talk about everyday mistakes people repeat in life and how to avoid them. Keep listening. Common life mistakes and how to avoid them. Mistakes aren't just about English, they show up in all parts of life. Let's look at some common mistakes people repeat without realizing and how they hold us back. Recognizing these is the first step to breaking free. Ignoring your feelings. Sometimes we feel stressed, upset, or excited, but don't stop to ask why. Ignoring these feelings can lead to poor choices, like staying in a job or relationship that doesn't feel right. Say this: I will listen to my feelings. Next time you feel off, pause and ask, what's going on? What do I need? Avoiding tough conversations. Many of us avoid speaking up to keep the peace, but this can build resentment. For example, not telling a friend they hurt you can lead to bigger conflicts later. Repeat this: I will speak kindly and honestly. Practice saying what you need calmly, like, I felt hurt when you said that. Can we talk? Waiting for the perfect moment. Procrastination is a common mistake. We wait for the right time to start a project, learn something new, or make a change. But the perfect time rarely comes. Say this: I will take one small step today. Start with something small, like studying English for 10 minutes or writing one sentence. Trying to please everyone, saying yes to everything leaves you drained and resentful. You can't make everyone happy, and that's okay. Repeat this: I will say no when I need to. Practice setting boundaries, like, I can't help right now, but let's find another time. Not learning from the past. When something goes wrong, we often blame others or move on without reflecting. But every mistake has a lesson. Say this: I will learn from my past. After a setback, ask, what can I do differently next time? Think about one mistake you repeat in life. Say it aloud. One mistake I make is, then pick one of these tips to try. Change starts with awareness, and you're already on that path. In the final section, we'll talk about a daily practice to avoid repeating mistakes. Let's keep going. Daily practice to break the cycle. Let's wrap up with a powerful daily habit to stop repeating mistakes. This practice is simple, takes just a few minutes, and works for anyone: students, parents, professionals, or English learners. It's about reflecting every day to become more aware and intentional. Every evening, take 5 minutes to think about your day. Ask these 3 questions. What mistake did I make today? Maybe you procrastinated or spoke impatiently. Why did it happen? Were you stressed, distracted, or unprepared? What can I do differently tomorrow? Make a small plan, like setting a reminder or pausing before speaking. Let's practice together. Say this aloud: what mistake did I make today? Why did it happen? What can I do differently tomorrow? Try it again. You can think through these questions or write them in a notebook. Some people keep a mistake and lesson journal where they write, one mistake I made today. Why it happened. One thing I'll try tomorrow. For example, if you avoided speaking English, you might write, mistake: I didn't speak in class. Why? I was nervous. Tomorrow, I'll say one sentence. This small habit keeps your mind sharp and your heart open. Progress is an instant. You might repeat the same mistake a few times, and that's okay. The goal is to keep reflecting and trying. Say this with me: I am learning and growing every day. One more time: I am learning and growing every day. Conclusion: as we close this episode, let's reflect on the heart of what we've learned. Mistakes are part of being human. They're not something to fear, they're opportunities to grow. But repeating the same mistakes without learning keeps us stuck. The good news, you have the power to change by noticing your mistakes, asking why they happen, writing them down, making small plans, and practicing new habits. You can break the cycle. You're not your mistakes. You're the person who's choosing to learn, reflect, and grow. That's what makes you strong. Think about one small mistake you want to stop repeating. Say it aloud. I want to stop. Then take one step toward change today. It could be speaking one English sentence, setting a study reminder, or having an honest conversation. Thank you for joining me today. Your time is precious, and I'm honored you spend it here, learning and growing with me. If this episode helped you, listen again and practice speaking along with me. Try repeating the key phrases or answering the reflection questions aloud. It's a great way to boost your English and internalize the lessons. If you feel comfortable, leave a comment or share your story. What mistake are you working to stop? What small change are you trying? Your story might inspire someone else. And if you think this episode could help a friend, share it with them. It might make a big difference. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep being kind to yourself. You're not behind, you're on your way. I believe in you, and I hope you believe in yourself too. I'll see you in the next episode. Stay curious, stay strong, and keep moving forward, one step at a time.